just when I thought it was safe to go into the last segment of the show, the WTF against Nico and Jess, which are no contest for me. He's back. Frankie joins us, special guest appearance, surprise appearance, and he's over at the studios of 77 WABC Radio. And it's so nice to have you back, Frank. The way they correct me, they don't even really know what they're talking about. They do these obscure corrections. It's not even that good.
You know, I didn't watch every minute of today's show, but I didn't catch any blatant factual errors today, so I think you're okay.
All right.
As far as my book goes.
Jess is shaking her head. I don't know. Let's.
Jess did. Jess found some, Frank.
Okay, well, so let's hear what she has.
Give Frank what you have. Let's hear. He says you got something.
So, during your interview with Dion Powell, you incorrectly referred to the SAM Party as the Save America Movement, when in fact it stands for the Serve America Movement. Now, I thought this was upsetting because it's so important to Frank, who's a prominent member of the party.
Yeah, I know. What's your issue, John? I'm on the state committee of the Serve America Movement.
I thought it was Save. I didn't realize it was Serve. My bad. All right. Okay, Jess. That's one for Jess. I
got one more for you.
You're on, so she stepped up a game today.
Clearly.
All right. You ready for one more?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, when you were talking about DACA during Hour 1, Segment 5, you said that immigrants that are born here should be allowed to stay. Now, immigration is defined as the international movement of people to a destination country of which they are not natives. So how can an immigrant be born here? Now, I'm going to cut you a little slack on this one, because I think you were trying to say that the children of immigrants should be allowed to stay.
That's right. Wow, she's tough today. You gotta surprise us more often, because Jess just hit me with
Those are two good ones. Those are good ones. Yeah, just to reiterate, the people born here, John, they're American
anchor babies.
Citizens. They're American citizens.
Yeah, but they call them anchor babies, right?
Well, I mean, I guess that it depends on what the motivation for their parents in bringing them here was. But if you're born here, you're an American citizen.
Right. So I thought the DACA thing was that they were trying to say people who came here specifically for the reason to have their kid in the country, they were going to be deported with the parents.
No, they wouldn't be affected by DACA. Only the so-called dreamers would be affected by DACA.
So, did you hear this story that, even though the Supreme Court ruled against Trump, they're still rejecting people's DACA applications?
I didn't hear that, no.
Yeah, it was breaking news that Jess hit me with before. They're saying that the U.S. Supreme Court is renewing DACA status for 650,000 people who already have it, U.S. Immigration Services, but new applicants are out of luck. It says that the U.S. is not accepting requests from individuals who have never been granted deferred action under DACA. So this,
right. Well, I guess I don't think that's necessarily inconsistent with the court's actions, right? The Supreme Court said that you couldn't suddenly cancel protective status for the existing DACA recipients without a concrete rationale. So if we're talking about new DACA recipients, I don't think that policy would be in violation of the court's order. But it really underscores the need for Washington to come up with some sort of a comprehensive immigration deal. Nobody, including President Trump, wants to throw out all these so-called dreamers. We just want to make sure that there are protections in place in the future. So, there should be a grand bargain, permanent protective status for the DACA recipients, maybe even a path to citizenship for some people that are DACA recipients or, other aspects of illegal immigration. And then the other side gets two things. One, full funding for the wall, and full enforcement of E-Verify, right?
Yeah, that would be a fair. I think Trump's been saying that he's willing to come to the table on this issue.
Well, no, Trump's willing to come to the table on everything. He's quite a compromiser. But the one thing that I haven't heard much from the Trump administration on is the E-Verify issue. And I suspect, I hope it's not the case, but I suspect it's because a lot of big businesses actually benefit from the illegal alien labor, and they don't want to necessarily enforce E-Verify. But if we're serious about cracking down on illegal immigration, I got news for you. You know, if there's no jobs for these people, they're not going to come here. And the surefire way to make sure that there's not an illegal alien taking a job of a legal alien or an American citizen is to enforce E-Verify.
Yeah, that will be good. Hey, Frankie, I don't know if you saw, but earlier in the show we showed a video that a bunch of supposed peaceful protesters were caught on videotape handing out baseball bats. Did you see that?
Yeah, I heard you talking about that. It is interesting.
Were they having a little league game at the protest, or you think they were?
I of course not. And a big hello to our friend Meredith Barak, watching from Vermont. Vermont is considering something, at least Burlington, that I think the whole country should, and that's ranked choice voting. Because I think what happens, John, is people on the left, on the right, in the center, they don't feel like the ballot is their choices are adequately reflected in government. People vote one way, and then XYZ gets elected. People vote one way, and then their policy preferences are ignored. I think if we instituted a variety of political reforms, including ranked choice voting, which Burlington is considering going back to, then you wouldn't see people so ready to riot. If people thought their vote actually meant something and that they could change the system by voting instead of rioting, instead of assaulting police officers, instead of picking up a gun, then I think you would see people, you know, a little bit less likely to pick up arms.
And to our friend Meredith in Vermont, Bernie Sanders would probably be the Democratic presidential candidate if there was ranked choice voting, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, certainly very possible. Certainly, you'd have a different strategy if you were running for president. But again, I'll point to the Kanye example. Let's say 60% of the country votes against Trump, right? Let's say Joe Biden gets 35% of the vote, and then Kanye West gets 25% of the vote, right? That would mean in many states, Trump would still get elected president, even though 60% of the country doesn't want him. What sense does that make?
It doesn't make much sense. It makes a lot of sense for me, for you to call in anytime you want, my friend, and for you watching out there. Sunday nights, WABC Radio 7 to 9, Frank Morano, and every day 10 to 12 in Hamptons, WLIR 107.1. Thank you, Frankie. Thank all of you for watching. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, more Liquid Lunch.